Nancy? Is that really you, Nancy? What happened to you? Terry. You're the last person I wanted to see. Seeing her walk into the examination room, I held my breath. What on earth had happened to her? She kept her eyes down, never meeting mine. I couldn't say a word, just stared at the changed woman before me. How did things end up like this? My name is Terry. I'm a surgeon at a general hospital in New York. Now, thanks to my income as a doctor, I live more comfortably than most. But my family used to be very poor. Terry, I'm working the night shift tonight, so make sure to lock up properly. Yeah, I got it. How old do you think I am? I'm already in middle school. Even so, middle schoolers are still kids, and it's worrying to leave you alone at night. I'm sorry for making you stay home all the time. You don't have to apologize, Mom. If Dad hadn't gambled and gotten into debt, we wouldn't be in this mess. It's all his fault. I wonder where he went. If I hadn't co-signed for him, you wouldn't have had to go through this. I can't even give my growing son a decent meal. I'm such a failure as a mother. Mom, don't say that. It's not your fault. The only one to blame is that useless dad. Besides, I've been getting pretty good at making bean sprout dishes. I'll make you a feast on my next day off. Thanks, Terry. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, tonight I'm working at the lunchbox factory, so tomorrow's meal will be special. Yay! Leftovers are the best. I hope there's some pork steak. Oh no, look at the time. I'm off. Don't stay up too late. My mom worked multiple jobs day and night, raising me on her own after my dad left us with a lot of debt from gambling. To lighten her load, I did my best as a kid, like cutting down on food expenses. Cauliflower are on sale again today. Awesome. This should get us through the week. If I make pasta with cauliflower, that'll be pretty filling. Oh my gosh, Terry, are you buying cauliflower again? Is that all you can afford? So poor. No wonder you're so skinny. Shut up. I can buy whatever I want. Besides, I like cauliflower. Yeah, right. You know everyone calls you cauliflower boy, right? It's hilarious. I got teased by classmates who lived in the neighborhood when they saw me always buying cauliflower at the supermarket. However, I was still in middle school and couldn't work, so I wanted to save on food costs as much as possible to reduce the burden on my mom. That's why, even though it was embarrassing, I kept buying cauliflower. When I was really hungry, I drank tap water to stave off the hunger. Despite being poor, the life I shared with my mom was modest but happy. When I was in the third year of middle school, a turning point came. Mom, please open your eyes. If I had stopped you from working so hard, this wouldn't have happened. It's my fault. You always look so tired. Terry, it's not your fault. Stop blaming yourself. Getting cancer was just fate. It wasn't anyone's fault. Grandma, what am I gonna do now? Stay strong. If you don't, your mom will worry about you and won't be able to rest in peace. What you can do is become a good adult and make your mom proud. Don't do anything rash. I'm gonna be a doctor. I want to save as many lives as I can. I want to help patients like my mom. Worried about my mom, who had been bedridden more and more often due to overworking, one of her co-workers suggested she see a doctor. That doctor referred her to a big hospital where, after some tests, she was diagnosed with terminal cancer and given only 6 months to live. From then on, her health deteriorated rapidly, and during the last month, it was painful to watch her suffer. All I could do was encourage her as she endured the pain, and I felt powerless. When my mom passed away, I was sad, but I was also relieved that she was finally free from the pain. I was taken in by my maternal grandmother, and from then on, I studied desperately, hardly sleeping, and got into a top private high school. Grandma, I'm heading out for a bit. All right. Are you going to that park again? I don't know what's so fun about going out at this hour. I can't understand what smart kids like you are thinking. I like going at this time because no one's there, and it's a perfect way to clear my head. I'll be back soon, don't worry. To achieve my dream of becoming a doctor, I kept my grades at the top of my class and spent every day studying. day and night. The only way I relaxed was by spending a little time at the nearby park at night. Looking up at the night sky and zoning out made me feel like my tired brain was getting some much-needed oxygen, and it felt nice. I loved that little bit of time where no one bothered me. Usually, the park was empty at that hour, but that day, someone else was there. A girl about my age was sitting on the swing, and when she noticed me, she shyly greeted me. "Oh, hi. You're Terry, right?" "Huh? How do you know me? Are we at the same high school?" "Well, we're not at the same high school, but back in middle school, some girls in my class used to talk about you. They called you the cauliflower boy, Terry." "Oh, so that's it." "Yeah, that's me. I'm the infamous cauliflower boy, Terry." Thinking that she might be making fun of me for being poor, I replied a bit harshly, but after hearing her next words, I felt embarrassed for doubting her. "Don't you get really hungry during puberty?" "I get hungry all the time, so even if I eat lunch, my stomach's growling by the end of the 5th period." "What about you? Don't you get hungry just eating cauliflower? Are you okay?" "Huh? Are you worried about me? You're not making fun of me?" "Why would I make fun of you? If you only ate cauliflower, there must have been a reason, right? I wouldn't judge you without knowing anything." She introduced herself as Nancy, who went to the same middle school as me. Encouraged by Nancy, I told her about my mom and why I had been eating only cauliflower. Nancy listened quietly to my story. "So, you're living with your grandma now, but she's living on a pension, so you can't really burden her too much." "Yeah, that's right. Grandma's cooking is delicious, but I get hungry quickly. It's like the portions are too small. Grandma tells me not to worry about money, but I can't help it. She's even paying for my high school tuition, and I can't ask her to feed me as much as I want when I'm not even working part-time." "I see." Nancy seemed to be thinking about something as she listened to my story. We continued to meet at the park at night and talked about various things. One day, the doorbell rang. "Yes, who is it?" "Oh, Nancy, what's up?" "Hi. Could you accept this stew and cake?" "What? Why?" I made too much." "I'd appreciate it if you could take some." "Wow. Did you make this yourself? It looks so delicious." "Thanks. I'll happily take it." I noticed that Nancy had a few band-aids on her fingers, but when I accepted the food, she smiled happily. The vegetables in the stew were a little undercooked, but the cake was delicious. From that day on, Nancy started bringing stew and cake to me every day. Today's stew is chicken stew, and the cake is carrot cake. I'm really proud of both, so enjoy them. Today's looks great too. Yesterday's cake was one of my favorites. The chocolate chips were so good. Thank you so much every day. But I feel bad for just receiving all the time. I want to do something to thank you. "Oh, you don't need to thank me." "Well, how about helping me with my studies in return? Would that be okay?" I agreed to help Nancy with her studies as a thank you for the food. Nancy would bring food every day, and we would study together at my place. Afterward, I would walk her home. Walking her home and chatting along the way became something I looked forward to. "Wow, Nancy, your dad is a CEO. That's amazing. You live in a different world from me." "So, you're a rich girl." "Hey, being a rich girl isn't all that great. I don't know if it was part of some special education plan, but I had so many lessons when I was a kid. I wanted to play with friends, but I always had piano or French classes. And from the upper grades of elementary school, I had to go to tutoring center, so I never got to hang out with friends after school." I see. Being a rich girl has its own problems. I guess it's different from the struggles of someone poor like me. Yeah. Then I hit my rebellious phase in middle school. I stopped talking to my dad, and I quit all my lessons without asking. My parents were so shocked they stopped saying anything, and my grades just kept dropping because I wasn't studying at all. Wow, I didn't know that. But what made you want to start studying again? Was there something that happened? I saw you studying at the library once. Even though everyone else was chatting with friends, you were just there studying quietly. I thought that was really impressive. Me? That's a little embarrassing. No way. It was really cool. Seeing that made me think I should study hard and pursue what I want to do. What do you want to do, Nancy? I'm not sure yet, but I'll tell you someday. Congratulations on getting into college. Congrats on getting into med school, Terry. Thanks to our hard work, Nancy and I both got accepted into different prestigious universities. Nancy's parents invited me over for a meal to thank me, and as I was enjoying the dishes made by her and her mom, her dad said, "Terry, it's all thanks to you that Nancy started studying and got into college. She even started talking to me again after getting close to you. We really appreciate it." Thank you. No, not at all. Nancy worked really hard and got into college all on her own. I just gave a little help. You're just as polite as Nancy said you were. Honestly, when my daughter told me she was getting help with her studies from a boy, I was a bit skeptical. Really? Well, I guess that's understandable. It must have been concerning for parents to know their high school daughter was going to a boy's house. Yeah, at first. But then I heard you always walked her home and even made sure to call when it got late. My wife and I talked about how rare it is these days to see such a responsible young man. I'm glad we got to thank you properly. No, I should be the one thanking Nancy. She really helped me out by bringing food almost every day. I see, so that's why she suddenly asked my wife to teach her how to cook. Now it makes sense. Nancy's father, Richard, grinned at Nancy, who turned away with a red face. I wondered if I had said something wrong. When we went to college, Nancy and I took different paths. I went to medical school to pursue my dream of becoming a doctor, while Nancy went to a state university to take over her parents' company. After we graduated high school, we both got busy with our studies and stopped meeting up. Sometimes we would catch up on the phone, but we never met in person like we did in high school. Thanks to my hard work, I graduated from medical school and took the national exam that year. Nancy, I got my medical license. I did it. I knew you could do it, Terry. You really worked hard. Congratulations. I'm so happy for you. Your mom in heaven must be proud too. When I told Nancy on the phone that I passed the exam, she was as happy as if it were her own success. Hearing her voice after so long made me happy, and we talked about what had been going on with her. That day, we forgot about time and talked on the phone for a long time, like old times. However, after that, I couldn't reach Nancy. I was busy working as a resident doctor every day. Nancy had said she was learning about running the company under her parents, so I thought we were just both busy and couldn't find a good time to talk. I didn't worry too much about it. Time passed, and I became a surgeon, working at the university hospital. I had finally become financially stable as a doctor and could support my family. As a way to repay my grandmother for all the care she had given me, I rented a senior apartment for her and enjoyed a busy yet fulfilling life. However, my life took a drastic turn one day. That day, for the first time in a while, there were no emergency changes with my patients, and I was excited to head home and relax. I decided to stop by the nearest convenience store to pick up a late-night snack. As I approached the store, I locked eyes with a middle-aged man in work clothes smoking outside. He looked much older than I remembered, but I recognized him. The man approached me, reeking of alcohol, and spoke. "Hey, you're Terry, right? Long time no see. You've grown up a lot. The last time I saw you, you were still in middle school." "Dad, why?" "Why? It's only natural for a father to visit his son, right? Anyway, I need a favor. Can you lend me some money? I lost it all at the races." He grinned with a vulgar smile, sizing me up as he spoke. "Terry, I heard you became a doctor. Do you remember your classmate Bob? His mom runs a bar near the station." I heard it from her. "It's pretty cold of you not to tell your dad that you became a doctor. Now you tell me. I never thought of you as a father. You left me and Mom with nothing but debt. Because of that, Mom." "Huh. Say whatever you want." She was weak from the start. "It's not my problem. Besides, I don't even know if you're really my kid." "What did you say?" insult Mom anymore and I'll never forgive you. Don't get cocky. You hear me? I'll leave for now, but I won't stop until you give me the money." Noticing a few passersby stopping to watch our exchange, my father shouted at them, "This isn't a show. Get lost." He then turned to me and said, "I'll be back." My father staggered away, laughing loudly for some reason, probably drunk. I realized I was shaking with anger. I'll never forgive that man. From there, I acted quickly. Afraid my father would continue to harass me, I managed to transfer my job from the university hospital to a general hospital that had offered me a better position. I also moved, worried he might know my current address. I wasn't going to let that man ruin the stable life I worked so hard to achieve. When I was finally getting used to my work at the general hospital, I was in the outpatient clinic. "Dear Terry, your next patient is the last one for today. Just one more push." Finally, I still have rounds after this. It's gonna be a long day. And even though it's by appointment, we had a lot of patients today. Of course, Dr. Terry's consultation days are always fully booked. People are calling you a genius doctor, you know. I'm learning a lot working under you. Yeah, enough flattery. Let's call in the next patient. I froze for a moment when the nurse called the next person in. The same thing seemed to happen to the person walking in, who widened their eyes when they saw my face. "Nancy? Terry?" It was Nancy who walked into the examination room. It had been years since we last met, and I couldn't hide my surprise at how much she'd changed. The always healthy and vibrant smile was gone, and she seemed much more fragile than before. Most of all, her pale complexion made it clear that something was wrong. "Nancy, what happened? You came to see me for a checkup, so..." "I can't believe the famous doctor known for cancer treatment is actually you, Terry. I'm shocked. Weren't you at a university hospital before? Did something happen there?" "Yeah, I've had some personal stuff going on. But enough about me. Can you tell me about yourself?" "Well, I've been feeling unwell on and off for about 6 months. At first, I thought I was just tired, but the symptoms got worse, affecting my daily life. My dad told me to go to the hospital, so I had some tests done. That's when they told me I had terminal cancer and only 3 months to live. I felt completely numb. Without looking me in the eye, Nancy continued in a fading voice. "I knew I should have consulted with you, being a doctor and all. But I didn't want to burden you, especially since you're doing so well as a doctor. I couldn't bring myself to tell you, so I didn't contact you. I never thought we'd meet again like this." "I didn't want you to see me like this." Watching her wipe her tears with a handkerchief, I tried to comfort her. "Nancy, thank you for coming to me. Let me take it from here. I swear, as a doctor, I'll make you well again. Just like when we used to study together, let's work hard together." "But they told me I only have 3 months. The doctor I saw before said there's nothing more to be done and explained palliative care. Can I really get better? I don't want any more pain. Can I trust you, Terry?" "Of course, Nancy. Now that you're here, there's no other path but getting better. It's too early to give up. That doctor wasn't a cancer specialist, right? Cancer patients should seek second and even third opinions until they hear something that gives them hope. I've seen many patients, and I know. There's no need for you to give up. If we start treatment with medication and then proceed with surgery, you'll be fine. Trust me." A slight glimmer of hope returned to Nancy's face with my words. "Do you remember when I lost my mom in middle school?" "Yeah, of course. Actually, my mom had terminal cancer." "What?" I had no idea. Back then, I couldn't understand why my mom had to suffer, and I hated the illness every day. She was in pain until the very end. That pained expression is etched in my mind. Every day, I wished for a world without cancer. But thanks to her, I became a doctor and found a dream of helping others. I always work with the hope that no one else will suffer like she did, that no family will have to go through the sadness I did. That's why I started researching cancer, and that's how I got to where I am today. I explained to Nancy that combining Western medicine with Eastern medicine can be more effective in treating cancer. She listened to me seriously. Nancy, I want to be the one to perform your surgery. Let me help you. Tears welled up in Nancy's eyes as she nodded repeatedly. I promised her that I would guide her through the surgery. I'll make sure the surgery is a success, so don't worry. When you wake up, the cancer cells will be gone from your body. We won't lose. You're strong, Nancy. On the morning of the surgery, I was in Nancy's hospital room for the morning rounds. She had changed into her surgical gown and was waiting for the nurse to come and get her. Her expression was tense, probably from nerves, but she gave a small smile and nodded at my words. I feel safe with you, Terry. It's just that I've never had surgery before, so I'm a little nervous. Nancy's parents were also in the room, and they were happy to see me after so long. They nodded their heads, asking me to take care of their daughter, which made me feel even more determined than usual for the operation. As the time approached, the nurse arrived. Nancy and her parents looked even more anxious. The nurse inserted an IV into Nancy's thin wrist. The time had finally come for her to head to the operating room. As I watched Nancy being escorted by the attending nurse to the operating room, my hospital-issued phone rang just as I was about to prepare. I wondered who could be calling at a time like this, and looked at the screen to see that it was from my grandma. She almost never calls while I'm at work, so I had a bad feeling as I answered. Hello, Grandma, is something wrong? Terry, sorry to bother you at work. That man came to our place. That man? You don't mean Dad, do you? Grandma, did he do anything to you? Are you okay? Yes, I'm fine, but he took the important bank book your mom left behind. It had the money she saved for your future. It's creepy that he knew where my apartment was. I'm worried about my grandma, but right now, there's an important surgery ahead. Damn it, Dad. Why'd you have to pull something like this now? As I was thinking this, Nancy's father spoke up. Excuse me, could I have a moment? I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but I overheard. Oh, sorry about that. My grandma's hearing isn't great, so she tends to talk loudly on the phone. Sorry you had to hear that. But don't worry, we can still proceed with your daughter's surgery. No, it's not that. Could you leave this matter to me? Huh? My family has been grateful for your help in the past. I'm sure my company can be of assistance with your father. For now, I want you to focus on the surgery. I'll make sure everything is taken care of, including your grandma. I decided to trust Richard's words and leave the matter with my dad to him, focusing instead on the surgery for Nancy. Grandma, I'm about to perform Nancy's cancer surgery. You mean Nancy? Surgery? I can't go into details now, but I've asked Richard, Nancy's father, to take care of you. So for now, I'm going to focus on my work. Sorry, Grandma. Why are you apologizing? You go and do your best in Nancy's surgery. You have to save her. There's no one as sweet as that girl. Don't worry about me, Richard seems more reliable than you. Her words reassured me and helped me calm down. The surgery proceeded smoothly, thanks to the thorough preparation with the staff beforehand. It was initially expected to take 7 hours, but we finished successfully in 5. Despite the difficulty of the operation, Nancy's condition remained stable throughout, and as soon as it was over, the entire team smiled and celebrated the success. In the hallway outside the operating room, Nancy's father sat with her mother, comforting her with an arm around her shoulder. As I approached, they looked up and seemed to understand from my expression. Thank you. Really, thank you. Our family owes you so much. Thank you for saving Nancy, for saving our daughter's life. Richard clasped my hands with both of his, tears streaming down his face. Beside him, Nancy's mother, who had been holding herself together, finally broke down and cried, her head buried in her hands. After expressing his gratitude, Richard seemed to remember something. Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, and about your dad. I'm sorry for the trouble he's caused. No, it's nothing compared to saving my daughter's life. What happened to my dad? And my grandma? Is she okay? Richard wiped away his tears and began to explain. Terry, do you know that my company specializes in security systems? Yeah, I remember hearing about it from Nancy a while back. I don't know all the details, though. Well, because of our work, we often get requests from the police. And just between us, we have some connections there. I see. That's interesting. Regarding your dad's situation, we got the surveillance footage from the management company of your grandma's apartment building. The police considered it a potential crime and quickly started an investigation. What? Really? That's not the most surprising part. Your dad was actually placed on a wanted list, and he was arrested just now on suspicion of theft at a casino in the next town over. What? This is all happening so fast. Well, it's a serious offense to trouble the person who saved my dear daughter's life, Richard said with a smile. Later, during police questioning, it was revealed that my dad had other charges as well, and he would be spending some time in prison. I felt relieved knowing that my grandma could live safely. We also got back the bank book my mom had left behind, and I decided to keep it as a precious memory of her. One afternoon, a week after Nancy's surgery, she and I were in the hospital garden. I can walk by myself now, you know. What are you talking about? You were in a wheelchair just yesterday, and you haven't regained your strength yet. Listen to the doctor's advice. Stop acting like a doctor only when it suits you. You didn't have to come all the way here during your break. During my lunch break, I noticed Nancy taking a walk around the hospital for rehabilitation, and I couldn't resist going over to her. Seeing her so lively, unlike the day she walked into my office, made me happy. It's my choice, isn't it? What's wrong with worrying about a patient? Anyway, you're doing well enough to talk this much. What do you mean? You're being discharged the day after tomorrow. Congratulations, you've done great. What? Really? Yeah, congratulations on being discharged. But you'll still need to come in for regular checkups for a while. Terry, thank you. I can't believe I get to go home. I'm so happy. Even though Nancy's recovery was steady after the surgery, her energy levels were low due to the extensive procedure. However, with her determination, her vibrant attitude gradually returned. Watching her improve day by day, I made a decision. All right, I'll be home early no matter what today. You say that, but if a patient has an emergency, you have to prioritize them. Okay, Daddy? In the morning, I gently stroked Nancy's belly, which had grown as large as it could. Since then, I had proposed to Nancy, and we got married with the blessings of both our families. It was amusing how close Nancy's father and my grandma had become, almost like real parent and child. Initially, we had given up on having children due to Nancy's age and concerns about her cancer recurring, but Nancy was insistent, and I eventually agreed. Since the birth is scheduled, we expect to meet our baby this evening. Well, I'm off. Reflecting on everything that had happened, I savored the happiness I felt now and vowed to continue working hard for my patients today. No matter how tough things get, I won't give up. I realized how important it is to never give up in life, and I want to continue sharing that message with many people in the future.